Welcome to a Google-based tour from Cascadia Chronicle. In these geospatial essays, we move across virtual landscapes to reflect upon historical, cultural, or literary dynamics in the Cascadia region. Across the decades, many artists, musicians, and writers have engaged with the Columbia River. It's instructive to compare how Guthrie and Sherman Alexie have represented the riverscape, especially in reference to their very different evocations of Native American presence and absence. In his famous 1941 song, Roll On, Columbia, Roll On, Guthrie starts with pure geography, naming in turn the Canadian stretch of the Columbia, and then directing our attention all the way down the river to the river mouth at the Pacific. He then names in turn the Columbia's tributaries: the Yakima, the Snake, the Klickitat, the Sandy, the Willamette, and the Hood. Guthrie then moves to mythic history, to the territorial or frontier era, celebrating the white trappers and explorers who navigated the Cascade Rapids and the Dalles Rapids. He renders the indigenous epic over and done with a passing reference to traditional Native American burial grounds on a river island where, in his condescending terms, the Injuns rest peaceful. In the song's so-called lost lyrics, he celebrates white victories during the Yakima Wars of the mid-19th century, alluding to military skirmishes near the Cascades Rapids, and also discusses an American military expedition launched from Fort Vancouver, Washington. He also tells us of the military steamer Mary, stationed on the Mill Creek in the Dalles vicinity. The song culminates with odes to the two hydroelectric monuments, the Bonneville Dam and the Grand Coulee Dam, which are currently turning our darkness to dawn, a line that can be read as referring both to electrification and to the triumph of Euro-American enlightenment over the indigenous. Sherman Alexie's 1996 poem, The Powwow at the End of the World, may be read as inverting or undoing the geopolitical logic of the Guthrie song. Alexie starts where Guthrie concludes at the Grand Coulee Dam. But while Guthrie celebrated the dam's construction, Alexie summons up an Indian woman overturning the dam and freeing the long pent-up waters as the river currents rage all the way down to the river's mouth at the Pacific. There, a mythic salmon swallows a drop of purified water. The salmon then swims back up the Columbia past the flooded cities of the Dalles and the Tri-Cities, past the abandoned reactors at Hanford, past the confluence of the Columbia and Spokane, all the way to the Spokane Indian Reservation around Welpinette, Washington. There, the salmon creates a mythic fire that summons all the lost Indians home in a prophetic vision of homecoming that spans the pre-contact past and the post-colonial future, as the author dances with my tribe during the powwow at the end of the world. For all their differences, Guthrie and Alexie each contribute to the endless mythical refashioning of the Columbia Riverscape. It is hard not to think of Franz Boas's commentary on Northwest Native American mythology, famously repeated by Claude Lévi-Strauss. Quote, "It would seem that mythological worlds have been built up only to be shattered again, and that new worlds were built from the fragments."